So, whenever you're ready, Albert, the floor is yours. You have 5 minutes to defend the motion. This house prefers a world in which it is impossible to lie. Good luck.
My name is Albert, and I support the stance that we should live in a world where no one can lie. My arguments are that people would trust each other more, it would help people make informed decisions, and it would help mentally, and there wouldn't be as much crime. My first reason is that if lying was completely eradicated, people would trust each other more. This is this would happen because people would know the other person is always telling the truth due to the absence of lies. Trust is an important part of our lives and can lead us to have healthier relationships slash friendships not built on lies and deception, but instead built on trust and faith. My second reason is that I decline. My second reason is that people being forced to not lie would be beneficial to the public because then advertisers and salespeople would have to tell the public the truth. So the public would be more informed when buying a product. Plus, if people could not lie, judges would be more informed and knowledgeable about the case, making case rulings and making informed decisions easier due to the judges being able to rely on what the parties have claimed. My third reason is that according to Michigan psychologicalcare.com, lying can impact your stress and self-esteem. This website says that you can become stressed with maintaining credibility throughout your story. Making up a story with lies forces you to remember your lie, forces you to lie more, and all the while worry about being found out. It can lower your self esteem because when you lie, your opinion of yourself will dwindle. Honesty is a virtue, and when you lie, you do not maintain that virtue. But if lying was eliminated, none of those mental issues would happen with lying. My fourth reason is that no one would even attempt to do a mischievous or dangerous act and try to get away with it because it would be harder for people to successfully get away due to not being able to lie, which would make people generally not want to do bad things. Crimes like identity theft or tax fraud would be harder to carry out if they were interrogated. An example of a crime that could be taken care of is criminals and media news reporters that would also, well, not crime, um, criminals, criminals and media slash news reporters would also not be able to lie about events, which would be beneficial for the public and the judges. In conclusion, this is why we should live in a world where lying is not allowed or completely exterminated.
All right, good stuff. Thank you, Albert. We'll do a little rewind there. And now we're going to hear from our next speaker, Dorothy. So, Dorothy, whenever you're ready, you have 5 minutes to respond to those remarks. Good luck.
But hello, my name is Dorothy, and today I'll be taking the stance that we should not live in a world where it is impossible to lie. We believe that in our world, no one can lie. I mean, we can lie, but it has more benefits than status quo. I will focus on the points creativity and imagination, entertainment, survival skills, and mystery and excitement. Before I start, I would like to review Albert. He said that you may have stronger relationship with friends, but if the secret is harmful or hurtful to them, it may instead hurt their bond with you. First, let's start with creativity and imagination. Lies can often come from creative and imagination. A world where professional lying is the usual might encourage extraordinary tales and innovative ideas. With creativity and imagination, there would be limitless storytelling. Every person carries a library of spectacular stories. Each tale, when shared, paints vivid pictures in the mind of listeners. The diversity of narrative would be infinite, inspiring new heights in literature, films, and art. Liars have innovated problem solving. For example, great liars often think outside of the box to create believable scenarios. This habit could translate into innovative approaches in the real world problems. Imagine how creative thinking could take technology, medicine, and everyday life to the next level. Another thing that liars typically are good at is listening. They will listen to their victim to gather their information. This makes them very clever. There may also be education through stories. Traditional education may involve a weave in fantastical narratives into learning. By blending facts with fiction, educators can make subjects more engaging and memorable for the students. Next, let's go to entertainment. Think about all the stories, movies, and books that could come out from a world where there's lying in a form of art. Everyone could be a master storyteller, and entertainment would be richer and way more diverse. There may be better literature in our world also. Influencers and content creators would elaborate and entertain people. Followers would be captivated by the tales spun, never quite sure which parts were real and which parts were not. They wouldn't be captivated by all the real life stuff. Next, let's dive into survival skills. This is very important as telling the truth may hurt someone's feelings. Lies can sometimes help navigate tricky situations. Sometimes white lies are needed to avoid these scenarios. In life-saving scenarios, it could be telling an intruder you aren't home even though you are. This would give you a need to lie because your life is in danger. Then let's go to mystery and excitement. Such a world would be full of surprises and mysteries, making daily life more thrilling and unpredictable. One benefit would be puzzles and riddles. Skilled liars could, could create elaborate puzzles, scavenger hunts, and escape rooms that challenge the participants. Solving these mysteries is exhilarating and stimulating. There would be a constant intrigue. Every conversation, every encounter has a potential to be riddled with intrigue. Suddenly, that friendly neighbor could be a secret agent, and that quiet co-worker may have had a hidden past. The everyday world would now become a thrilling game of discovery. Now I'd like to do some pre-balloting. While trust may be at stake, such a world might lead to improved critical thinking. People would become incredibly skilled, kind of like having a built-in lie detector, which would turn everybody into better judges of character. Government may argue stress and anxiety. Constantly trying to shift their lives may seem stressful, but it could also make our brains more resilient. Navigating a world full of deception could be an intense mental workout, sharpening our minds and preparing us for the real world challenge. Miscommunication. Sure, lies could complicate communication, but on the flip side, it could inspire more precise and thoughtful expression. People might become better communicators by learning to convey complex ideas through creative storytelling. In conclusion, we believe that security is a greater priority to people than miscommunication. We also believe people will think that their safety or security is more of a priority. In this state, we believe we should live in a world where people can lie. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Dorothy, very much for those remarks. And now we'll hear from our final speaker on site government to rebuild for their partner and respond. That's going to be Ethan. So, Ethan, whenever you're ready, you have 5 minutes to respond. Good luck.
We should live in a world without where everyone can where everyone cannot lie, because you can find out where bad guys are, find out mysteries and murders, and you can find out more things about the world and knowledge, such as astronomy, science, and even uh some things that we don't even know yet, going up to religion. we can find out bad guys and mysteries and murders, because like if we can't lie, then we could just go to our next door neighbor and be like, hey, who are 10 killers, and they just say it because like they can't lie, so like the words just come out of their mouth. Same goes with like knowledge such as science, like, and like people can question things like, how do we solve this problem, or how do we solve how to end food scarcity, or how do we stop our sun from exploding, or how do we avoid even dying. Mm, um we can use this for many things, and our society will have more and more and more knowledge um every year, because like there's always something to figure out, like endless things, so there can be like a person, and then the government just adds all sorts of stuff, and then we can create things like robots, ships, or fly to different planets like this. And then you like Dorothy said, well, they're gonna be, since everyone knows that everyone can't lie, murderers are gonna go all around, or like robbers are gonna go all around stealing your password, or saying this, that, or like any stealing of private information, because you can't white lie, or just not uh or just like lie to them, or run away, because you have to explain and like say your password or stuff. But the government will already find out all the criminals and the future criminals, because like they just like same concept. The government just asked the a person like, who who are um uh list all the names of all the robbers in the world and where they live, and then like they just find out all the robbers, so like there's no murderers, robbers, or like mysteries or any dangerous things. This will lead to age of a golden age of discovery, um uh knowledge and prosperity.
All right, thanks, Ethan. And we'll hear from our final speaker of the debate, Yufei. Whenever you're ready, you can go on ahead. Good luck.
Okay, so we believe that we should live in a world where people can lie. A reason is that if someone or something has the ability to lie, they would have a significant advantage over everyone else who couldn't. The same will be true if an alien civilization, for example, decides to go live on our planet. They would take over extremely easily if they wanted to, because we would just believe everything they said, because we would think that only the truth could be said. If one human was born with the ability to lie, then they could just like take over all of humanity. Also, lying is not always actually bad. For example, if you're like planning a surprise for a friend and they ask you what you're doing, in a world where lying doesn't exist, this couldn't
So
happen. I accept.
uh it says that on the topic of this debate is we will live in a world which is impossible for people to lie, so like it, for example, everyone on earth can't lie, so if the aliens come to earth, can't they lie? Like they can't lie.
Well, it's not like it shouldn't be like magically everyone who comes to Earth gets their ability to lie deleted. That just doesn't make any sense. And besides that, it's just kind of weird if that was how it worked. Um, Also, if you're always forced to tell the truth, that would actually make it extremely easy for criminals to get information out of practically anyone. So yeah, catching criminals wouldn't be any easier. They could avoid getting caught because they know every little detail about anything, and even if it has changed, all they have to do is just ask someone, and suddenly they know everything again. Yeah, sure, it will make it easier for the police as well. However, because they know so much, they could just avoid capture, run away, and they just can't be interrogated. So you can't actually find anything else about them. So crime won't actually be solved. Also, not being able to lie just makes the world more unstable because going undercover isn't an option anymore. So many ways of investigation are actually not possible anymore. Lying can also be used as a tool to comfort people or so that they don't have to face reality, and it can actually sometimes save lives. If you ever met a 5-year-old, they probably don't know that much. If they hear something that you didn't want them to hear, lying could possibly uh, save them and your sanity probably, because today we can lie, so they wouldn't need to know what it meant that early. So children also tend to make up things in their mind, and believing it exists makes them happy. Taking that away will be extremely sad for them, and it's best not to make children suffer for no reason. Another reason why lying could potentially be a useful tool is because if something sad happens to a family, you wouldn't want to expose a small child to insane, life-changing information that would take an extreme toll on their mind. Lying and making excuses for life-changing facts until someone is ready to learn about them is important because straight up telling them about something devastating could make them depressed or even worse. Lying could also be a way to comfort someone and can even save lives. If someone wants to do something bad to themselves or someone else, you can lie to get them to not do it. If someone's going through a hard time and they didn't want to seek help because they felt like it would be embarrassing, then you could lie to help them get the help that they need. If we knew that everyone spoke the truth, then we might start trusting people too fast. If we trust too many people, this actually isn't as good as just having like one or two specific people that we really trust. This makes too much responsibility keeping all your relationships, and people could change if you trust them too fast. Also, just because the witnesses can't lie, well, judges can be biased, and bias isn't necessarily lying. What if they just completely refuse to listen to someone? This does exist today, and it's kind of hard to track down. And and you and because crime isn't that much easier to solve, and it might even be worse. This is why we think that removing the ability to lie would actually just make it a more unstable world.
All right, interesting stuff, guys. Thank you very much. I'm just gonna go through and give you guys some feedback, and I thought it was a pretty good debate all around. I do think that we had some good stuff to say. I think I am leaning towards side opposition for the win, and let me explain why. I think there was a pretty critical strategic error that happened from side government that I think got exploited pretty quickly. And not to so Ethan, I want to talk about how you conceptualized this round because you seem to be under the impression that just because people couldn't lie, it meant that they became like a magical 8 ball where they could just like create new information. So that's where your idea about like, oh, I can learn about secrets of the universe because I can just keep asking people about things like the sun and mastering energy, and because they can't lie, that means that they have to know the truth, right? But like, what if they just say I don't know? Right? Because like if they just say I don't know, that's the truth, right? They're not lying. So it's and the problem is like this scenario kind of invalidates a lot of government's arguments this week, where I think I hear a lot about the fact that, like, I think there are some very good things that come out of government in terms of like the world being better because of like things like improved trust, better relationships, having more informed decisions that you can make, having more information, period. But where we got to things like crime, for instance, and maybe like creativity and imagination, the problem with Ethan bringing this up and mentioning it this way is that when Yufei later mentions the fact that people can be forced to tell the truth, by Ethan's own definition of the motion, they've lost, because what that means is that like if Ethan had come up like done what I said, right, and just said like, because Ethan, by your own definition, people are just gonna like be forced to give information. So the problem is that when people talk then about crime and a criminal comes up to you and asks you, okay, like, where do you live? Like, is your like, where do you live? How many people are in your house at night? Like, so that they can try to rob you, right? In your world that you've come up with and you've described to me, that person would have to tell them the truth, right? And I think you could have avoided that by not using this creativity point, because ultimately the problem here is that like I think we can know where bad guys are in the sense that like we can ask other bad guys, but the thing is like I could also say I don't want to tell you, and that is also